I forget I have made someone deny, take them to entry here again, okay? Otherwise, I am leaving this, I don't know how to do it. I am leaving this one and then again I am getting entry. I think now I shall start the class. Okay, now let us start the class. I hope you can hear me. But first, you tell me if you have any doubt in last class. So you are responding, so I shall think. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
So you are not responding. That means I shall assume that you have no doubt in previous class. Today I shall start the performance symmetrical fault calculation or symmetrical fault analysis. Can you see the slide? I hope. Can you
Yes,
see the
ma'am.
slide? Okay. If you
Yes.
cannot see or cannot hear, then you interrupt me. Otherwise, I shall pretend that you are saying you can hear me. Okay. Because today I have faces one connection issue in my last class. Anyway. So let us start the symmetrical fault analysis. In last class, we have learned how to present a system in per phase basis, but in per unit, not in their actual unit. And what there are some advantages of per unit system. We can very simply get an equivalent circuit of any complex power system when there is a number of transformers, different voltage levels. We have got that one. But why we have learned that one? That is what the one application of power unit representation is the symmetrical fault analysis. What is fault? That any abnormal condition in a power system is the fault. Then now fault may be of open circuit fault or short circuit fault. Fault means actually current is not flowing to the desired path. So what is desired path for power system? Current should come from the start from the generator and it will end at the consumer side. That means at load. But somehow if it is not happening, that means there is a fault. It may happen that there may be some short circuit in the path. Then that may be mean the consumer will not get the power. So that is one short. Or another thing may happen that one transmission line has torn. So the connection has lost due to open circuit. So there are two types of fault in short. One is open circuit fault, another is short circuit fault. Now the thing is that for open circuit fault, if you are sending a high current, suddenly it is disconnected due to the fault in the system, then obviously that excess power will create over voltage at the conductor insulation side. So that will, for open conductor fault, open circuit fault, there is high voltage issues, because there the expected potential drop will be not there, current load is not there, so there will be excessive potential rise, like Ferranti effect. Similarly, but it is not Ferranti effect, obviously. Then for short circuit fault, what will happen? Short circuit fault, if any point in a circuit get grounded or shorted, if any 2 points of a circuit shorted, not involving ground, directly they have shorted any 2 points, then obviously overall impedance of the circuit will be reduced, so voltage will go down. So if voltage will go down, so then the current in the desired path will go down, but in the shorted path will be higher. So that is called short circuit fault. Then short circuit current is always higher, but that short circuit current is not going to the load. Load is getting disconnected. Short circuit current will flow to the short circuited path. So load impedance is higher than that. So load will get nothing. So short circuit and open circuit both are not useful for load, and they both are creating trouble in power system. And one thing, how will we sense this undesired scenario in a power system? Because we cannot see the current, you have to sense it, and not only sense, not only measure, you have to decide whether it is normal current or abnormal current for short circuit. Here we shall discuss about short circuit mainly, short circuit only actually. Then that what will be the current, whatever the current that is red, that is showing the ammeter through CT, obviously all the connection will be through CT because
Ma'am,
it is
did you
high.
see the first slide?
I have not showing it, and in first slide also I am giving introduction. Okay.
Sure.
I have not changed. So if there be any undesired path, then the current will be higher, but the higher current is the normal current, because in transmission line also current is in terms of 500 ampere for long transmission line, 500, 200, 300 ampere current is very normal. So when you are there is a short circuit, if whether this current is normal current or fault current, that we have to decide, that the system will have to decide. So that's why fault current analysis is required. It means actually fault current calculation. At any point, if there been a short circuit fault, then what will be the current that we shall calculate here. So in short, if there been a short circuit, here we shall discuss. Now slide has changed, I think.
Yes, ma'am.
So if there be any short circuit in the system, the short circuit may be in different way, and we can list only some of them, because how they will be shorted, it cannot be defined, because this is the abnormal condition. But generally the most common scenario are listed and that are analyzed. So it may happen 3 lines of the power system, actually 3 phases. In fault analysis, generally we do not show the phases by RYB, it is shown by ABC. So it may happen 3 phases are shorted. So here it is 3 phases are shorted, but they are not connected to ground, that has not touched ground. So this is 3-phase fault. At first 3-phase fault. Then why balanced? Because when 3 phases are shorted, then impedance change in 3 phases are same. So obviously, even after fault, current will be balanced. So that's why it is balanced 3-phase fault. Similarly, these 3 phases may be shorted and connected to ground. Then in that case, it is called the balanced 3-phase to earth fault or 3-phase to ground fault, because here ground is involved. In both the cases, this A and B, the fault current will be balanced, but the system is not, the operation is not normal but abnormal, because 3 phases are shorted, either connected to ground or only among themselves, right? Now next is that there may be single line to ground also. That is one line here I have shown by for A phase. You can see this black color if you can follow the mouse. Then through this, only this A phase has been connected to ground, but it is not directly shorted to ground. There is an impedance ZF. I have shown by a square. Then this ZF may be 0, then it is called dead short circuit. Or it's ZF, maybe a very small value, 10 ohm, 1 ohm, 15 ohm. So then it is called the fault through impedance. But here only one line is grounded through some impedance or may not be, then it is called single line to ground fault. So obviously the current in A phase and B phase and C phase will not be same. They will be drastically different. Then for that reason the system will be unbalanced. So that's why it is called unbalanced fault or asymmetrical fault. Current will not be similar but very much dissimilar, so it is called asymmetrical fault. Asymmetrical fault we shall not cover here, we shall discuss this one in your fourth year first semester class. But this is the concept of asymmetrical fault. Now, what is the problem of asymmetrical fault? All the KCL, KVL are application for applied for the balanced system. In asymmetrical system, we cannot use this one, these things. So, for that reason, any asymmetrical system we convert into some three balanced system, that is called positive sequence component, zero sequence component, and negative sequence component. At least there are those sequence components you have learned somewhere in your basic electrical classes. So when we have to analyze this asymmetrical fault on where only one phase in this case is shorted to ground, then we need help of that sequential components. That's why it is called this analysis will be difficult as compared to the balance fault. Then obviously balance fault may be of one time only, but one type only, but the asymmetrical fault may be further two type. One is there may be line to line fault. Two lines here I have shown B phase and C phase are grounded through ZF impedance. If you cannot see, then you should tell me. So these two phase is shorted through impedance. Since ZF is very small, maybe 0 also. So this is called line to line fault. Here also the I phase current will be different than B phase current and C phase current. So it is an asymmetrical fault. Similarly, when these two phases are connected, shorted together, then connected to ground, then it is also a double line fault. But here ground is involved. Then it is called double line to ground fault. Okay. So these three are single line to ground fault, line to line fault, double line to ground fault are asymmetrical fault. So these are the normal faults that can be observed. Now how they will be shorted, how the impedance will be connected, that is dependent on, that is actually unique for any particular fault in practical power system. So we cannot make them in a list. So this is the clear, just is the idea. What are the different type of faults? What is different between symmetrical fault and asymmetrical fault? Now we shall concentrate only on the asymmetrical fault. Sorry, symmetrical fault. Now say transient fault in a transmission line. Whenever there is a fault, that means current is changing its direction from its desired direction towards some undesired direction. Current would go to the consumer, but it is going to the ground. So path has changed, so they changed. So there is a switch over. So this is like a transient. So that's why it is called transient fault. Every fault at first must be transient. Say this is a transmission line connected to generator. So under normal condition, there must be some load connected to here, and current was flowing in this direction, normal current. Now I am writing by I suffix n. But due to this short circuit, current will not go. IN will be 0 approximately, and there will be fault current IF. So when there is at the instant of fault creation, there will be a switchover from IN to IF. So there will be a transient, as if you are switching a circuit, another circuit. Then in case of, so we can assume if we forget about our IN, because at t equal to 0 plus, only that faulted condition is there. T equal to 0 minus, there was the IN. then it is simply a new RL circuit that is that is formed due to the fault. Then obviously, this if the system voltage is root 2 V sin omega t, V obviously the RMS value of the system, then root 2 V is the maximum value, peak value of the voltage, and that's it. It has some angle, initial phase angle alpha. That means it is not the reference phasor. Reference phasor is some other thing. For example, say it is a sending end voltage, then receiving end voltage is the reference phasor. So this voltage is alpha angle leading from the receiving end in that way. So this is the system voltage. So now if fault current at any instant of time, we can write some instantaneous, some steady state value and some transient value, because transient will be there because this circuit was not existing. This circuit is created due to the fault. So that is a switching. So this is a transient. So obviously, when this switching will be permanent, then that will be steady state condition. When just this switching has occurred, then that is a transient condition. So whatever be the current at any point, we can write the steady state plus transient current. When transient will be die down, then only steady state current will be there. But at the initial condition, there will be both steady state current and transient current. That means at the initiation of fault, obviously every time the current will be higher. And if you allow the fault to sustain for a long time, then there will be only steady state fault. Then shall we allow the current fault to sustain in the system? If you are allowing the fault in the system, that means you are allowing the power to be drained in this path. The power will not be consumed by the load. So there will be no revenue, and this power will be huge because instead of load impedance, there is only zero impedance in the path. So that loss will be huge. That will create some other problems, stability issues. So whenever a fault will be initiated, we will aim to disconnect it as early as possible. Then why we are discussing about transient fault and transient current and steady state current? The point is that during transient, at least you can understand that during transient condition, the current will be higher. The disconnection of higher current is also very much difficult. So you have to make a compromise where to disconnect the circuit. Because you are not disconnecting a current of 1 ampere, you are disconnecting a current far more than 1000 ampere, because at the normal condition in long transmission line, current is in terms of 500 ampere, like that. That you have the examples you have done in your power system planning design class. So current is very high. So steady state short circuit current is also called symmetrical short circuit current, because at steady state it is nothing but a simple RL circuit. So current will be purely sinusoidal. So it is a symmetrical short circuit current. There will be no asymmetrical component. Now instantaneous value of transient. What will be the transient current? Transient current is a series RL circuit. So transient current is obviously I into to the power minus RT by L. I shall come there later. So instantaneous current of a RL circuit under steady state condition. This is the steady state part. Steady state part will be V by Z, because here for steady state the fault is sustained for a long time. So this is the impedance of the circuit, this is the voltage. Then what is the steady state current as we calculate for the AC circuit? So this is the V by Z. So V is the root 2B sin omega t plus alpha. Z is the impedance of the circuit. Here impedance means impedance on the line. Now here, if there be any fault impedance in this path, then that should be included, ZL plus ZF. But generally we neglect the ZF and we consider ZF as 0, right? Then the steady state current is very easy to calculate. We know root 2 by Z sin omega t plus alpha, 2 by V sin omega t plus alpha by Z. Now Z we can write in polar form, Z and magnitude of Z and an angle theta. So that theta obviously change the phase angle of current. So phase angle now it's alpha minus theta, and the magnitude is root 2B by Z. Now root 2B by Z we may assume as I max, because root 2 by Z will be the magnitude of the current, instantaneous current. So the steady state current will be sinusoidal, and since its maximum value will be root 2 V by Z. Similarly, instantaneous current through an RL circuit under transient condition. What will be the current? If this is under transient condition, e to the power I max e to the power minus RT by L. Or we know that V by R e to the power RT by L for the circuit. When that is not AC, not like power system, it is very easy. If the supply voltage is V, then it is E by R, V by R e to the power minus RT by L. I hope you can remember RT by L. Here, there L by R is the time constant of the circuit. Depending on L and R, it is the current decay actually varies. If the time constant is more, then time will decay with very long time. If time constant is short, then the current will die down very shortly. I hope you can remember. Then here also we may estimate that this current will have some maximum value IT max. Why we are not writing V by R? Because here there is some AC component also, steady state component also. So what will be the IT max? We shall calculate from some initial condition. So at first, at this moment, let us write this is IT max into e to the power minus RT by L. Because for RL circuit we know that it will have some magnitude and it will decay. The transient current will decay depending on the time constant of the circuit. So it will be some I max into e to the power minus RT by L. Here I have not assumed that is same as this I max. So I have written I transient, IT max, T for transient. That means maximum value of the transient current into e to the power minus RT by L, because it will decay exponentially. Then obviously total current, fault current, this was the equation 1, that is fault current will be steady state current plus transient current. So with proper justification we have seen that first term is the steady state current, I max sin omega t plus alpha minus theta. There is no issue with that. Along with that, the transient current will be IT max e to the power minus RT by L. So we have got this one. Now we have to sort out what is IT max in terms of the parameter available with us. Now, obviously, fault current I have rewritten here because due to slide change. Then let us find out what is the IT max. Now, why we can write at t equal to 0, there was no fault, so no current was flowing through the circuit. So IF was obviously 0. Then IF 0. Then we can put very easily IF equal to 0 and put t equal to 0 here. Then we can get the equation of IT max. Then you see IT max is not I max but I max sine theta minus alpha. So what will be the equation of current again? Just you substitute IT max in the expression. Then IFT we get sine I max sine omega t plus alpha minus theta, plus the transient component is now I max sine omega alpha. So peak value of the current are not same for the steady state and the transient, because transient part this is the peak value, and for steady state peak value is I max only, right? And summation of these two current will produce total current. Now obviously you see this current is some maximum value into the power into e to the power minus RT by alpha. It is added with some sinusoidal quantity. So this is not sinusoidal. So overall waveform of this IFT obviously will not be sinusoidal. So that current will not be symmetrical. How long? That's the time for which this total transient part is existing. Then how long this transient part is existing? Until and unless this exponential decay is completed. So if the time constant is lesser, then at very soon this transient component will die down. The current will be steady one, the sinusoidal one, symmetrical one. But if the time constant is low, then it will go for long. Time constant is high, it will go for longer time. So the current remain asymmetrical for a long time, asymmetrical about time axis. Okay. So that thing I have written here, and how much asymmetrical that will depend here, because these two I max are same. So it depends on theta and alpha. So that thing I have written here. Yes.
Ma'am, we decide symmetrical and asymmetrical fault on the basis of fault current waveform.
No. Here current waveform is asymmetrical, fault is not. here during transient conditions, say when there is a symmetrical fault, then also at the terminal there will be a switching. Due to switching at the faulted condition, there will be a switching. Due to switching, there will be a transient current. So the current will make the total current asymmetrical. An asymmetrical fault means the three phases are not facing the abnormality in the same way. So their currents are not balanced. Here this thing will happen in all the three phases because their current will change in similar nature, but the each current has asymmetry about time axis. So current is asymmetrical. The three phase currents are balanced. Can you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
When I have told the asymmetrical fault, I have not told that the current is asymmetrical. I have told that currents are unbalanced. So we need symmetrical components to analyze that. Okay. And obviously this is good question. And here asymmetrical means the current waveform is asymmetrical. Say in if the asymmetry of in all A, B, and C phases will be same, but asymmetry is there. And how long that asymmetry will exist? Until and unless the transient component will die down. Then when this transient component will die down, that depends on the time constant. Now, obviously, here this maximum value of this IT max, that is I max sine theta minus alpha, that we have just found out. So that obviously dependent on this theta minus alpha. If this theta minus alpha is 90 degree, then obviously this IT max equal to I max. Okay, so in that way, what will be the value of IT max? That depends on theta and alpha. Now, what is theta? Theta is the R plus Jx, the angle of that impedance. So if R is negligible, then obviously theta is 90 degree. And if this is reference phasor, if it is happening at receiving end, for example, then it will be I max. For this example, that does not mean that at the receiving end current will be symmetrical. I am giving only the example. If this reference actually is an entire different thing, when I shall teach you load flow, then you will understand. Actually, always in AC quantity we shall calculate with respect to some other quantity. There will be some reference phasor when you are saying about lag and lead. So here that means this voltage, the point you are considering, the voltage, the generator you are considering, it is the reference when you are calculating. Then obviously when theta equal to 90 degree, and that means R is negligible as compared to X, and R is alpha equal to 0. Similarly, R is very negligible as compared to X. It generally happen for long transmission line, not for distribution system. So when we are analyzing fault for distribution system, we cannot make this assumption. Then obviously for that I max sine theta minus alpha will become I max. So actually when theta equal to 90 degree, then it will be the worst condition, condition as compared to that when theta is not 90 degree, right? So we are assessing worst condition. Why? Because if the worst condition we can save the system, then system will be safe for any other condition. Then we have got this one, right? Finally, the expression of current. So you see steady state current, it is written I max sine, it was omega t minus theta. Now it is written sine omega t minus pi by 2. I have not converted into the cos, then the explanation will be difficult for me. So I have written is as sine omega t minus pi by 2. Then obviously at sine omega t minus pi by 2, this is says have some maximum value. Okay. At omega t equal to pi, actually at omega t equal to pi, this steady state component will have maximum value. Can you follow me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Here we have got one expression. Now, if we want to get what is the maximum value, because I have told that during transient condition, the transient current will be added to the steady state current, so current will be higher. Then what will be that highest value? When the steady state component is highest and the peak, the transient component is highest, then overall fault current will be maximum. Then when the steady state component will be highest, obviously not omega, in omega equal to 0, it is minus I max. So omega t equal to pi, it will be plus I max. So at omega t equal to pi, it will be plus I max. At omega t equal to pi, it will have some value that we can put here. Omega t equal to pi means how much in second? Omega t, our frequency is 50 hertz. Okay, so one cycle means 20 millisecond. Can you follow me? One second means 1 by 50, 1 second by 50, so 20 millisecond. So half cycle means half of 20, so 10 millisecond. So here I have written t at t 10 millisecond. Could you follow that?
No, ma'am. How you have substituted the value of time?
Our frequency is 50 hertz. Then what is the time period of the waveform?
Yes, ma'am. 1 by 15.
20 second, 20 millisecond.
Yes,
Omega,
ma'am.
then in the waveform, this is the waveform. This total is 20 milliseconds. So if it is pi, in terms of t, how much is it? Half of 20 millisecond is not it.
Hmm.
So 10 millisecond. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
And so if we put 10 millisecond, so obviously what will be the value of this transient component? Obviously that depends on R and L, right? Now if you put the value of R and L, you will see this the general value that you have got from your power system planning design class. If this Imax, the transient component value is very much near to this Imax, but obviously not equal to. But approximately we can say that this is approximately equal to Imax. Say it, obviously it is dependent on R and L. Say it is 0.99 Imax, then we may write it Imax. If it is 0.82 Imax, then it will be 1.8 Imax. So if we make an estimate, maximum possible value is twice Imax, not more than that. And in every practical case, it will be less than twice Imax. Could everybody understood that? That means at omega t equal to pi, the system condition will be worst. It will face maximum current, approximately double of the fault current. This Imax is not the normal current. This Imax is not the magnitude of the current that was going to the consumer. This Imax was the current that was flowing under that. This Imax is the magnitude of this steady state current. That means that Imax is the flowing under faulted condition. Okay, and during transient, within half cycle, within 10 millisecond, current will be double. So the system should be protected from this condition. Everything should be designed in for that to face this scenario. It may happen depending on circuit breaker speed, depending on relay signal sending procedure. The system may be disconnected before 10 millisecond, may not be. If it is not disconnected before 20 millisecond, then system should withstand this current near to the double. Obviously, it will never be double, but it will be somewhat near to the double. So actually, in short, current become approximately double of the steady state current when we spend 10 millisecond after fault. Okay, initially currents are in the steady state current in negative direction, so they were lesser. They were cancelling each other. So this is called doubling effect. That means fault current become double at after only half cycle after occurrence of the fault. So it is better if we can disconnect the circuit within half cycle. But it is very difficult because you have to sense everything within 10 milliseconds and send the signal to the circuit breaker, and circuit breaker will disconnect this circuit. Normal current is 500, so current fault current at least 10 times of that. That means 5000 ampere within 10 milliseconds. It is very difficult because circuit, when there will be a disconnection of current, then there will be huge arcing. Okay, so you have to die down that arcing also before after disconnection. Otherwise, through arcing continuation connection will be there. So it is a very difficult job. So system generally designed to withstand this current. This current obviously instantaneous. After that, it will die down very shortly. So what is the magnitude of fault current? So approximately we have seen this is twice Imax. So at t equal to 0, IF equal to 0. So therefore, this is this thing I have forgot to put t equal to 0 here. So this is 0. And then after first cycle, omega t equal to pi, we have got this expression that I have already discussed. So actually, this is approximately twice of that. So actually, it may be 80%, it may be 90%. Generally, it is approximately equal to twice of the fault current. So we call it doubling effect. In some analysis, the design engineers, as a thumb rule, consider that this current will be 1.8 times of the steady state fault current. That is one say approximated value they assume, and generally it holds good. If we do any design with estimating that 1.8 times will be the fault current, the maximum transient current will be 1.8 times of the fault current. That gives the good design. Now, if we want to plot the current, how will you see? So you see here, 1 minute. What was our fault current equation? This one, okay. So here, 1 minute. Let me write down here, okay, otherwise I cannot understand. So this expression we have got. So what is the steady state current? Initially at t equal to 0, it is minus negative. Now you just follow the dotted blue line. So it will be negative peak, okay. It will be shifted to some extent left hand side. I think it is wrong. 1 minute. Actually, let me draw from here. Actually, the thing will be like this. It will be started from the negative. At t equal to 0, it is sine omega t minus pi by 2. So obviously, here this peak will be like this, not like the blue color. So then it will be normally maximum. Then after half cycle, so after half cycle, that means this is half cycle. Then I have to redraw it. After half cycle, it will have peak, and by red color I have shown the transient one. So this peak steady state value and the transient value will be added up. So they will be increased, right? So that will be the maximum value. So in that way, the current will be higher. And when this asymmetrical component will die down, then obviously symmetrical component will exist. So actually, during the initiation of fault, the time up to which this transient component or the that DC component exists. Why DC component? Because it is no, it has only one direction. It is called DC component or the aperiodic component. Why aperiodic? Because it is making the system asymmetrical. So for that reason, if there be any asymmetry that is introduced to it, and for that reason current become higher. When it will be die down, then the system will be steady under fault. All are abnormal condition. So obviously current is gradually dying down, and every time the you try to redraw this thing, because at initial condition if it is Imax, then current will be 0, then it will be gradually up and down. Then let me see whether I have any other. Yes, this one correct. I have scanned somewhere. No, this is also wrong. IF should be, yes, should be 0. Let me redraw it again. Anyway, at least let me continue with this figure. Then what is the thing we can at least understand? Then that means that here the initially the current is higher, then it is gradually die down. When the current is higher, then it is called transient condition. That means transient condition will end when the current, the asymmetry of current will go. That means when the DC component will die down, transient component will not be there. Then within that, it is also divided into some transient period and some transient. Which part is transient, which part is subtransient, that is not well defined. Subtransient means current's value is higher. So it may happen first few, it may be said that first few cycle of the current is the subtransient period. Then the remaining cycles are the transient period. So total current when the DC component or the transient component is existing, then that condition, that period is called transient period. A transient period is subdivided into two periods, subtransient and transient. Subtransient is the worst condition when current is the higher. So first 2 to 3 cycles, then up to 3 to 5 cycle or 3 to 8 cycles may be the transient. Now how many cycles will be there, it can never be decided, because never be defined, because it will be dependent on system, it will be dependent on RLL value, it will be dependent on Z. Okay, so it will be dependent on alpha. So we can only say that first few cycle will be subtransient, because there the current will be highest, and then it is transient, and when there will be no asymmetry of the fault current, then it will be steady state current. Understood what is transient, subtransient and steady state?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, the figure has something wrong, because if you just put t equal to 0, I is I max, and the this I max, this steady state component is minus I max. So this pink color, the overall component is right, because at first it will be 0. Then within half cycle, what will happen? This will be I max, this will be plus I max approximately. So it will die down, but it will have some value, right? So this is the first peak. So within first peak, actually this blue value will come. So blue circuit has some, I have drawn in hurry, so there is some issue. So actually the thing will be like this. Could you follow this?
Yes.
No, not this also. I have drawn wrong. Initially it is minus, here negative.
Minus Imax, yes.
Minus sign. So if it is pi, no, it is pi. So at t equal to pi, it is how much? At t equal to pi, it is plus, right?
Imax,
So it will be here. So in between that, it will be 0. So it will be like this. Is not it? Now am I correct?
yes, ma'am.
So in this way, you can draw also. Okay. So this is the thing. But the pink, the total component is correct, and the transient component is also correct. Here I have drawn the Imax is equal to Itmax. Otherwise, it is not possible to draw in this way. It is difficult to show. But in practical case, Imax may be to some extent lesser than that. Understood? You go through this part very sincerely before coming to the next class. Otherwise, it will be difficult for me to continue. Okay, that's all for today.
Okay.
Please leave the meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.